Here are some of the differences between the pre-facelift and facelift W210s. So some of this information will be specific to AMG models and also US and Euro models. The pre-facelift W210 came out in 1996 and went all the way up to 99. There were some minor changes in those years, but the biggest change came in 2000 to 2002 when the facelift model was released. So the AMG models of the pre-facelift all had painted lowers. So the front bumper, side skirts, and rear bumper were all painted. For the pre-facelift, the lower half of the front bumper, where the lip is unpainted, the side skirt's unpainted, as well as the bottom section of the rear bumper. So this is the AMG body kit on this car, so obviously it is all painted, side skirt and all, and the entire rear bumper. The facelift cars came all standard with the entire body kit painted. There was no unpainted plastics on it at all. The biggest difference for the facelift is that the front end is completely different. So the hood, the fenders, the grille, the headlights, the front bumper are all different and specific to the facelift car. And in fact, if we look here, it is noted in the design updates that the front end has an increased rake. So the front of the hood is lower and the rear of the hood is higher than it is of the pre-facelift car, which is more level. So we'll see there, that is pretty level compared to this. This one slopes down just a little bit more. And while the headlights do look the same and function the same, they are different, mount differently, and are not compatible between these cars at all. So they are specific to facelift and pre-facelift. So we will see on the hood of the pre-facelift car, the hood goes all the way down and around the grille, while on the facelift car, it just goes down and does not go around the grille at all. Another difference is the front bumper. These are the AMG front bumpers, so they do look similar in design. They use the same fog lights, but we will see the facelift bumper will go up all the way around the headlights, while the pre-facelift car stops and there's a chrome trim around. This is very similar to the previous W124 E-Class, and we will have these plastics right here where the bumper would come up. And we'll see that both of these cars have this cutout for the headlight washer system. And on top of that, the fender is also specific. We'll see the fender comes all the way up to the front, while this fender does not. While it is possible to swap the facelift front end on a pre-facelift car, it does require a lot of work. It is not completely 100% bolt on. You will have to figure out how to mount the fenders. That is the most tricky part of doing that job. Grille is also different too. It is a completely different shape. This one is more rectangular, while this one is more angled. Another difference will be the mirrors. So this is the pre-facelift mirror, which is shared with the W202 as well. So we'll see it is just a plastic piece that is smooth all the way around. And on the facelift, we'll see it is more rounded and it has a turn signal indicator on it. So for US cars, this was all standard. European model pre-facelift W210s had the side indicator on the front fender right here. In the US, this option did not exist. So in 2000, that is when we had the side facing indicator. So this is only a Euro option for the pre-facelift. Another difference is the side trim. So we'll see that the chrome is all the way at the top, while on the facelift it is moved more towards the middle. So this is an AMG car. This piece is standard to have paint. On a non-AMG car, this would have been unpainted, just raw plastic, that matte black look. And this is the painted facelift skirt, which all the skirts are painted. So this is the specific AMG one as well. So this would be just more flat in the non-AMG model, but it would also stay painted. And we will also notice that the jack holes are different. This also applies to non-AMG models. The jack holes are different from pre-facelift to facelift as well. Another difference is the door handles. So all pre-facelift cars have this matte black plastic unpainted with the chrome on top, and the facelift is all body color with the chrome on top. So if you have a early year 96 to 97 W210, you will most likely have the infrared key, which will include this cutout in the door handle. So that did not exist on 98 to 2002 cars with the smart key. They had the wireless transmitter keys versus the infrared, so the infrared had to have the sensor to work. So the difference between the pre-facelift and the facelift bumper is that all the pre-facelift bumpers have the chrome on the top, and normally if it is a non-AMG bumper, the lower portion of the bumper would be unpainted, just matte black plastic. So this is the AMG bumper, so it's completely painted. And here's the facelift, so the chrome is standard like this, and the lower section of this AMG bumper is what's specific, just the shape of it. but all pre-facelift bumpers would be painted body color. Another difference is the taillights as well. So these are the pre-facelift taillights. So the AMGs do not have any specific taillights on the pre-facelift, but on the facelift they got these smoked lenses, so the turn signal and reverse section are smoked. So this was also standard on avant-garde trim Euro cars. The trunk lid was also specific too. So the difference you see between these two are going to be the cutout for the plate. So this is a Euro trunk and that's a US trunk. But the main difference was that the taillights internally are designed different. So the facelift taillights will take some modification to fit on a pre-facelift trunk. So it is not a direct plug and play type thing. And another difference is too, if you have a early car, like a 96 and 97, you will have the cutout for the infrared receiver. And on top of that, your actual push button and key, that entire hole is bigger on the pre-facelift. So we'll see here on this facelift car, it is smaller and there is no cutout for the infrared key. On AMG cars, the rear muffler is specific. It is very slight difference. So we will see that the tips are angled to go underneath the bumper, so that cutout is slightly different. The facelift cars had a cutout in the rear bumper, so the tips go more straight. The tips don't angle up as much. So difference in the trunk lid too, on the inside when you open it up, is that the facelift will have a light here and the pre-facelift won't, and only on 2002 will there be a inside switch to open the trunk in case you're locked in there. So 2001 and earlier does not have that switch. And a pre-facelift trunk will not have the light at all. It will only have the one light right at the top of the car. Another very minor difference too is on 2002 model year W210s, the rear defroster lines are specific. So check this out. On the 2002, there will be this break right here on the passenger side of the defroster, as well as these three cuts. This is not a defect in my glass. This is actually how they come. Whereas if you go on a pre-facelift car right here, you'll see all the defroster lines are even and there's no breaks like that. So here's another pre-facelift car, also evened out. It is just on the 2002 model year. 01 does not have that. So that is just a minor difference as well. 99 and older US cars will have a smooth roof with no antenna. Euro cars were optional with antenna, but on US cars we all had this antenna on the top with the painted plastic to match. There were also some differences between wheels between pre-facelift and facelift, particularly on the E320 and other trims. On the E320 there was a specific wheel for the pre-facelift, and when the facelift happened the wheel changed as well. There are also differences for other cars as well, for like the E430. But in terms of the AMG, they usually came standard with the AMG Aero 2, which looked like this between facelift and pre-facelift. Another thing that is different too, on the front where the cowl is, an early pre-facelift car will have this smooth cowling with no cutouts, while the later cars will have the cutouts, and all facelift cars have the cutouts as well. There were also different engine options available for the early cars. In 1996, you could have gotten a E320 with an M104 inline 6-cylinder and a vacuum-controlled 4-speed transmission that was also in the W124. 1997 was the first year the 722.6 5-speed transmission was offered. In the US, we got the M119 in 1997, and we did not receive the E50 AMG here. 1998 was the first year of the M112 and M113 engines, so that was the first introduction of the E320 and E430. 1999 was the first year of the E55 AMG in the United States. So besides the engines being different between these cars, there really aren't much differences. Like, all the upper assemblies are the same. The main differences here on the facelift car, there are less vacuum lines running along this area. So we'll see on the pre-facelift there are more vacuum lines here. So we also notice that this fan cover is slightly different on the facelift car compared to the pre-facelift car. This is more squared off right here. This entire radiator support up front is different. That is due to the facelift car having a lower mounting point for the fenders. So this is a higher mounting point. And we'll see the differences in the headlights. So check out the rubber, it goes all the way down here. And on a facelift car, it is not the same. Looking behind also, the headlights are different. So we'll see there are two circular cutouts to access the bulbs. Or on the pre-facelift, it is more like the W124 where it has a large cutout. There are differences on the interior as well. So on the pre-facelift cars, we'll see the handle will stop right here. It is not that long. And the door panel will slightly be different as well. So this is the AMG door panel, so we'll have Nappa leather here, but vinyl all the way here. This is different as well, this area. So here is the facelift door panel. So we will see the handle goes all the way up This section is slightly different. And on the AMG models, we had Nappa leather covering this section. So the Nappa leather was generally only on cars option with that, so that was standard on AMG cars. So the door panel in the previous clip was a Nappa leather door panel. That was standard on AMG door panels and certain models of the regular 210 production. However, they were standard with this material vinyl right here. So we'll see that the texture is slightly different. It's not smooth. This is generally more durable too. It's just not as nice. And also the same thing for the airbag pocket. It is not Nappa leather. This is same on pre-facelift and facelift AMG cars, and the other cars are able to be optioned with it. So the Zinio cars did have the Nappa leather on the door panels as well. So we'll see that this is just raw plastic. On the Nappa leather cars, this was wrapped in leather. So all of this, which would be Nappa leather, is just vinyl. And surprisingly enough, the door handles were vinyl on both. It's just this upper portion right here that was Nappa leather. Even up here, it was just vinyl. So I just want to point that out, that that was a standard AMG option for most cars, and in non-AMG cars it was optional completely. Another difference in the pre-facelift versus facelift door panels are the speakers. So on the facelift, we'll see that there's a separate speaker grill. On the pre-facelift, this was integrated into the fabric, so it was just a lot more seamless. So on the facelift, this is a metal grill placed instead of having it integrated. So we will see this is the pre-facelift AMG seat. So this is smooth leather. However, it is not perforated. In the non-AMG seats, MB Tex was standard, leather was optional, but it also had similar characteristics. The leather seemed to be tougher than the facelift leather, which is generally more soft. And this is the facelift AMG seat, so we'll see the leather is perforated all around. So on the non-AMG seat, only the center section will be perforated and the sides would be solid. But this leather is much softer than the leather in the pre-facelift car. So coming inside the driver's seat, we will see the instrument cluster is specific to the pre-facelift. We will see that all the information is in the center, so we got the temperature and the time, whereas on the facelift car, we have 3 separate displays. So on the left, we have the temperature, on the right, we have the time, and we'll see on the right, that little dotted section next to the time. That section will indicate what gear you're in and the mileage in the center. And obviously the gauges were slightly different as well. So on the facelift, we'll see that the steering wheel is different. We have buttons on the side and the horn is in the center. So this is standard for all 210s. So the AMGs had the bolstered steering wheel, and on the facelift, the leather did change. So this is the softer leather they used. So the pre-facelift had the harder leather. So this is the pre-facelift AMG wood steering wheel. So this is probably fairly uncommon, but the AMG's got this sport airbag. So we'll see the horn buttons are on the sides. On the regular Mercedes steering wheel, we had the horn in the center. All the facelift cars had the chrome star in the center. The pre-facelift did not. So we'll see early cars on the center mirror will have the infrared. So this is 96 and 97. 98 had the other style. So on early cars with HomeLink, it was in the visor right here. On the driver's visor, that's where the HomeLink was. And we will also notice the difference in the dome light. So the buttons are laid out slightly differently. So we will see the HomeLink was integrated into the mirror. So those are the buttons for the HomeLink. We will see that the dome light is different, the buttons placement's different, and we also see we have a SOS button, which came, I believe, on 99 cars and newer. So this is what the visors will look like on the facelift. Obviously this is different material than the standard, but so we'll see the light is up there, and when we open the mirror, the light will turn on there. So on the pre-facelift, we'll see that the mirror was longer, and when we open it, we'll see that the lights are on the left and right hand sides of it. So there is no light above it like the facelift. So here are the differences in the center consoles. So on the early cars, the glove box ski hole was just black plastic. On the later cars, it is chrome. On the center area, we will see that this is a car with automatic climate control. So it has a digital climate control display. If you had a Euro car, these could be knobs if you do not have automatic climate control. So this has the early pre-facelift single DIN head unit. So the later cars, 98 and 99, I believe, and newer, had the different style. And the storage compartment and the ashtrays stayed the same on facelift to pre-facelift. However, the facelift you can order with the navigation, which would delete the storage unit right here. And we'll see, opening it up, this will be identical to a facelift right here. Another difference is this is the early style key, so we do not have the smart key, so this is different. The center console will be different too. So on the 99 and earlier cards, we had this shifter with PRND, and then we can shift to 4-3-2-1. On the later cards, it just went PRND, and when it's on D, you can go left and right for Tiptronic to shift between the gears. And we will see the difference is on the early cars, we had this early style switch to move the mirrors, and the window switches were different as well. So only the front two had automatic down. So we'll see the second click did not have auto up, and the rears did not have auto up or down. If you had a stitched armrest in an early car, the leather was also different. This is the harder leather that is used in the seats as well. So here we'll see on the facelift car, we have that chrome keyhole, and this is the navigation. So this gave you the doubled in, so no more storage cubby. We still have that same ashtray. We have the smart key right here, so we'll see that is a lot different. And we had one touch up and down on all four windows. This is called the Tiptronic shifter. And this is the later style I was talking about for the mirror adjustment. So we have left and right. And this is how you could toggle the auto down too. So the early cars, when you go in reverse, would not have the auto down for the passenger side mirror. So when you put in reverse, that mirror will tilt down to help you see the curb better. So the cars with this switch will have that. And we'll see if you have a stitched armrest. This is the soft leather that they used. The cup holders were the same in both cars. So it has a swivel out cup holder. And we'll see that the swivel out cup holder does not really hold drinks all that well, but it is pretty cool. So we'll see on this pre-facelift AMG seat, this just actually had more bolstering than the facelift. So that is because on the facelift, we had this pneumatic air that would adjust the bolstering and lumbar support on the seat. So this would be the orthopedic seat option. So the bolstering is less aggressive on the facelift because of the adjustability with the pneumatic air system. The rear seat also carried the same design elements as the front. So we had the perforated seats. On the rear deck, we will see that we have the sunshade and the third brake light. So these were options available on the early cars as well. However, the third brake light, this one you'll see is pretty long. This is the LED third brake light. This one only came out in 1999. So 99 and newer cars have that LED third brake light. If you had an older car, it would just be the halogen bulb in the center. It is the smaller one that was like the W124s. And here's the pre-facelift rear seats. So rear door panel, rear seats. So same design element. Rear deck is the same. This one has the LED third brake light, which is retrofittable. So there was a difference too in the interior. So this car does not have a sunroof, which is not very common. However, the actual board of the headliner is completely different between pre-facelift and facelift. And in fact, I believe they brought out the later style headliner in 1999. So we'll see on this early car, this is a 96, that the headliner goes and kind of just stops. So the A pillar, you see, will go all the way up to the center. We'll meet at the B pillar, and the C pillar will do the same as well. So the C pillars are really long, and then the handles are just out there. They do not fold. They're just right here to hold. So see, this car has a motion sensor, which is a Euro option. So the B pillars are pretty similar besides this. So paying attention to the rear handles, so we'll see the fronts. The rears have the hook on the front, and it is non-removable. Going into the facelift car, we will see that the headliner is different. So this headliner will also come on the 1999. So we'll see that the A pillars stop really short, and the headliner goes all the way to the sides. So the B pillar stops right up here, and the headliner goes all the way back here and meets the C pillar pretty far in. So we will see that the C pillar goes kind of like all the way up here. It does not go all the way to the B pillar like the early cars. Dome light was slightly different, so we'll see that this one is larger. The pre-facelift was smaller. And here are the handles. So these handles will fold. We'll see, they fold. And they have this hook section as well, but this is removable. And the fronts do not have the hook. And we'll see we have the SRS logo here. And this car is a US car, so there was no motion sensors. And the B pillar is pretty much the same besides that. So if you have a facelift car and you have this vent hole, that means you have cooled seats. So only facelift cars were able to be optioned with cooled seats. Pre-facelift was only available with heated seats. And both cars had the rear vents in the back, so they function the same. So another feature that came on 98 to newer cars, so 98 to 2002, was the auto door locks when you start accelerating. So 96 and 97 doesn't have this. So when you get in the car, you turn it on and you start driving away at about 10 miles an hour. These door locks will automatically lock. So here I am, I'm moving the car, And it's not until I get to 10 miles an hour where the door locks will activate. So that's only on 98 to 2002. The keys between the years of W210 were also different as well. So in 1996 and 1997, in the US at least, we had the infrared key as a standard key. So it would be a flip out key and it had the infrared portion at the top. So 96 and 97 we get this infrared technology. It's not the radio frequency that the later model keys use. So later they moved on to the smart key, and the smart key would look like this. This is the first generation of the smart key. We'll see it is black plastic, and if you flip it on the back, it has the chrome star. So on the earlier key, the star was on the front where the button is. There is only one button on the early infrared keys to lock and unlock the car. We'll see on the smart key that it has 3: lock, unlock, trunk, and panic. So this black plastic smart key is no longer available. They did update it to the later style, so you get what the new C classes and E classes get. It is the chrome style, so it has the chrome sides and the 3 buttons are still there. So nowadays, with a car being 20 plus years old, it is actually pretty rare to see a car with its original smart key. So this is what it looks like. We'll see mine is starting to wear off a little bit, but you can still buy these keys, the plastic shells, off eBay and swap just a plastic shell over and keep your internals, and it will still work. Another benefit of the newer smart key is that obviously you can see we can open the trunk, and there's separate lock and unlock buttons as well as the panic, but we can also program the lock and unlock. So if we were to push lock one time, it opens just the driver's door. So we will see the other doors are all locked here. So if I were to push the unlock again, so the second time, it would open the rest of the doors. But we can also change this too, right on the fly with the key. So if we were to hold the lock and unlock buttons together at the same time and wait for the red light to blink, see, it blinks twice. So now we have changed the settings of the smart key to allow us to toggle between pushing the unlock for all doors or just the driver's doors. So now I just set it to all doors. From previously it was just the driver's door. Okay, the car is locked, and now we will push the unlock. And now, as we just heard, all the doors opened. So all the doors will open with the push of unlock, and we will lock it, and of course all doors will lock. So now both the infrared and the smart key will do this function. So if I were to push and hold unlock and point it at the door handle, it will start rolling down all the windows and the sunroof. But now if I were to push and hold lock, it rolls them back up. And there I kind of lost contact there. You have to keep holding it, but both the infrared key and the smart key will do that function. So those are some of the differences I was able to find between the pre-facelift and facelift W210s. If there's something you know that I missed, please comment it below. I hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you for watching.